Ready, Matt?
Yes.
Let's do it. All right. In a few words, describe to me what the last 5 years have been like.
A few words.
A few words.
These last 5 years have been remarkable, challenging. It's been quite the journey. Well, the idea for Groundworks literally started by happenstance and maybe some luck. A friend of mine I went to college with was starting a software business, and I had owned a few companies in town, and we were friends, and he invited me to a dinner. Candidly, I was racing through the meal, ready to get home, and because I wasn't going to invest in a software business. And when he shared that Bizwiz really served the foundation services industry, I started to listen. So that night, I literally go home, up all night researching this foundation services industry. And it literally happened that night that I realized there's an industry here that has been forgotten. And if I could build a national business, leveraging technology, leveraging capital, leveraging professional management, building a company that the men and women that compose it are not merely labor, but are professionals, I knew that that was something that I could get behind, that I could build a company behind. And that night, Groundworks was born, at least conceptually. It was like 4:30 in the morning that I put this proposal together. My wife, Sarah, I remember her saying, "Hey, dummy, maybe not send this proposal out at 4:30 in the morning. You're gonna look too eager." So I listened to her, as I always do. And so I sent it at 7:30, I think. Of course, it was all in jest. And 4 or 5 months later, we ended up purchasing this company called JES that also had Indiana Foundation Service as a part of it. And that was the initial platform that begunsed this business that we are building called Groundworks.
We started talking about developing employees at JES. We talked about giving opportunities. We talked about making employees business owners. We talked about having employee profit sharing programs for everybody in the company. And that was all new to the industry, and it really excited me.
So Matt was very vocal. In order for us to get to the next level, we needed to grow. Originally, we worked on our own efficiencies, how we could expand. But Matt saw another vision, and that was in order to expedite this process, we'd be able to partner with other brands. So we started looking for partners, and the first company we were able to partner with was a company down in South Carolina named Mountain Valley Foundation Services.
As we started building Groundworks, we were part of this unique supplier group that that controlled our material cost, and we had just acquired a business in South Carolina that was not a surprise to our suppliers. We told them about this, got tacit approval to do it, and Thursday, February 16th, 2017. I remember it like it was yesterday. My son Logan at the time was a baby, not 1 year old. And I remember having this conversation in my home, and I got the call and I had to whisper because my son was asleep. And I got the call from one of our suppliers, and he said bluntly, we're going to kick you out of our supply group because of the acquisition that you made.
And what I realized is I worked on my business for 25 years. I bought a couple companies already. It was okay when I bought them, but when Matt steps in, all of a sudden it's bad, right?
2 days later, getting a call from the second big owner of one of the suppliers that we bought from, saying the same thing, that he had to make this decision, although he didn't want to, because he had to be in partnership with the other supplier that had first made the call. And then having to go to my management team and explain to them, hey, we have to pivot and pivot quickly. Mind you, I'm not from this industry.
You know, we didn't have any products, obviously, so we didn't know exactly what to sell.
So all our sales managers, they rallied together and said, look, no problem. We'll go back to building a PowerPoint sales tool that allowed us to service our customers. And legal got together and formed contracts. We didn't have contracts, we formed contracts. So that was done. All this was done in the span of 1 or 2 weeks. And we looked at the current supply that we had and said, look, now is an opportunity. These old tired products that hadn't been evolved for 20 years, let's do it the right way. Let's do it our way. Let's invest in them and make them different. We formed a task force. We actually started our own company to address this. And this company we named Independence Materials Group. And I think we grew that year like 43% year over year with no software. And what it showed me was simply that wasn't software that sells our solutions to our customers. It's our brand. It's our people. So this kind of emboldened us. So the challenge as a team coming together, it hardened us and made us something special. And I remember we were sitting around a room and one of our leaders said, they don't know what they just unleashed. But because of the challenge in uniting this company in a fight for survival, that literally was the foundation of what you see today as Groundworks.
So after facing these challenges, we were able to go back and focus on ourselves, on growing the company, growing JES in Indiana and Mount Valley. And what was so great during this time was Matt continued to remind us and to stay focused on the vision, which was for us to continue to expand. In order to do that, we had to partner with more companies. Now, there was this perception at the beginning that we were the bad guys, the outsiders, and we struggled with even getting potential partners to answer the phone.
When I was with the network, as we call it, we were like a family, sort of. We kind of grew up together, that's why. And we viewed Groundworks as the dark side. They were trying to steal our business and they were going to destroy our company. And so it was just, we didn't talk to them. And I'd been getting a lot of calls from Groundworks before, but never talked to anybody.
Turned out to be a misconception. But again, this was bad information that was traveling throughout the network. And some of it, I feel, was put out by the old dealer we worked under, because I think they felt threatened, obviously, by JES leaving the network.
I listened to too many other people tell me that Matt was just this guy that was going to buy your company and he's going to chop it and do this and send it down the road. I was wrong in my thinking, and I was wrong in letting other people allow me to believe that. That is complete BS, guys. I don't know if I'm going to put that on the camera. That's complete BS. It is.
So finally, we were able to get into the room with a gentleman, Pete Burgess, Tar Heel Basement Systems. Pete wanted to allow his team the ability to push into another market and frankly have what he coined the freedom to grow into that market.
After I made the decision to merge with Groundworks, I knew at some point, of course, when the merger was closed, that I would have to contact the owners of the old network that we were in. I had good relationships with them. I hoped that they would celebrate my decision to, at least in some form, at least personally for me and my wife, given my age and how loyal I'd been in those networks. And so what happened was the neighboring dealer across the mountains in Tennessee came in like General Patton, I guess, went through Europe. And he actually flew his plane over and met with my management team and tried to convince them to switch allegiance. There were a lot of offers of money made to these employees of mine and promises made. Many of them I thought were unrealistic and even some frankly dishonest to the employees. He got about 90% of our production team to leave Tar Heel and go with this new company that was going to set up in our territory.
So the next day we wake up, go to work, and there's no production staff. So not only did we get kicked out of our supplier network and lose our whole supply chain and sales software, and we're getting momentum building that up again. We overcome the obstacle of getting into the room with a potential partner. We're able to partner up with that company. And then by the end of 2017, just the day after we buy that company, Tar Heel Basement Systems, 90% of our production staff gets taken from us. 2017 was a challenging year.
And so what was really remarkable about Groundworks at that time was they rallied troops in Virginia Beach, up in Appomattox, Virginia, as well as from Columbia, South Carolina, and they rallied production people in those locations. So we lost very little production and the jobs that had been contracted to be done at that time.
It taught us an important lesson that we need to communicate better when we partner up with companies and do it on the front end with their leadership team. But also told us that these suppliers were going to make a stand and that we had to be prepared for war. And going forward, we would be.
So in 2018, after we recovered in North Carolina, we went right back to the mission. And we were able to find a partner out in the Midwest, a company called Foundation Recovery Systems. It was owned by Jeff Martin.
The main reason I joined Groundworks was I believed in the vision that Groundworks has. And when I actually weighed everything out, Groundworks, bar none, was the best choice for my company, for my family, and every employee and their families. The guys were coming up to me individually going, "Man, you are crazy if you don't do this deal. I mean, this is unbelievable."
We literally shook hands and hugged at the table. First time it's ever happened to me in my career. And I think once we agreed to partner with them, once we moved to that market and we did the proper post-merger integration, this move defined, I would say, the beginning of the next chapter of Groundworks. '19 was beyond, what my expectations could have been. So first we partnered with Rod Martin in Complete Basement Systems and his family in Denver, Colorado. Then coming back east into the great state of Ohio, we partnered with a young owner, Doug Seacrest, who also believed in the vision. He happened to own two brands, Ohio Basement Authority and Florida Foundation Authority. That was really exciting for us. And then in the same state, first time we actually had a partner in the same state, Mike Rusk agreed to be our partner, so we acquired Ohio Basement Systems. And then finally, we were able to partner with Keith Johnson way out west in the Great White North, as he calls it, in North Dakota and Minnesota.
So 2019 was a crazy successful year. And what was so exciting was that the industry's perception of Groundworks started changing. People actually started calling us and asking about partnerships. And it's really what I saw that catapulted us right into an insane 2020. And within the first 6 days of the year, we partnered with a company named Foundation Repair of Western Colorado in Grand Junction.
You know, we had been partnering with businesses, acquiring businesses, and candidly had reached a point where, you know, the resources that I had and the friends and family that were part of what we were building as investors had kind of reached its limit. And strategically, I wanted to bring on a partner that would give us something different in terms of world-class marketing help and assistance. And we went through a process, and we, as a management team, selected our partner. Cortec Group is our partner, and you know, one of their biggest investments is a company called Yeti. And we actually were able to leverage their history, experience, and background in consumer marketing to help us catapult into the future. So we actually finished that partnership remarkably in January of 2020, and then the world changed.
The uncontrolled coronavirus outbreak
prompting government to shut down businesses.
And so for 2 weeks, there was a lot of uncertainty. We didn't know exactly what we were going to do. But thankfully, we were then considered an essential business, and we knew that we'd be able to continue to serve our customers.
We had to adapt to the pandemic. We had to spend obviously a lot of money becoming, you know, protected as a company, protected as a workforce, not only in terms of our fleet and the way we go to work, but also in our offices. But again, the resiliency of the team and the challenges that they stood up and fought for. Again, just the history of this company and our ability to stand up and fight was renewed in the middle of this pandemic. And you know, while many companies took federal aid, we did not. While many companies laid off employees, we did not. We actually grew, and our business not only grew, it grew almost in triple digits. We decided to get more aggressive while our competitors were afraid. And so I reached out to a friend of mine, Ben Bayless at AFS. He and his wife, Rachel, we were able to strike a partnership with them, the biggest in the history of our company. And then quickly followed by that, another very successful, massive brand in Michigan. We partnered up with Bob Gennard and Vicki Gennard at FSM.
After FSM, we weren't done yet. We had an opportunity to go down to Atlanta, Georgia, a company called AquaGuard Foundation Solutions. Tom and Joe became our new partners. And what's a little extra special about them is that they're our single largest location.
And then my dear friend Ron Weatherly, who frankly I've known since 2016. I would argue that Ron welcomed me into this industry as much as anybody, Jesse and Ben and other folks, and that he helped teach me this industry. And so it was rewarding for me to finally be able to partner with Ron and to have that $35 million business in Charlotte join our team and our mission.
So looking back over the last 5 years, we started this company with 5 offices and 190 employees. And looking at Groundworks now, we have 37 offices and over 3,000 employees.
And then on the financial side, 2 weeks ago, we went over $500 million in revenues in, trailing 12 months. I mean, It's crazy. I look at the sales every morning. We did $62 million in sales in March. We're on pace with one day less to do 63 in April. It's been so far outside anything I would have expected.
The growth trajectory or planned growth trajectory over the 3 to 5 year period we achieved in 1 year.
From an outsider's perspective, many people look at our company and they see the press releases and the E5000 and the revenue growth and the many acquisitions and the open up 37 different offices, etc. And these are all great things. But what defines Groundworks are the 3,037 men and women that work here. Today we have over 200 employee owners. Every general manager, sales manager, office manager, production manager, they are owners in our company.
The humbleness of that in itself, to give them up ownership. It's just not a one-man show or one family. It's giving these people a career.
This has had a big impact on employees because if they run their department effectively, efficiently, and profitably, they're going to share in the profits that are gained by their extra effort.
Groundworks has revolutionized the way that employees are treated in the home services industry. And it's more than just the dollars and cents and the incentives. It's the caring about the actual person.
Initiatives like the Serve and Support, our Battle of the Brands initiative we're doing this year.
I mean, they've done things like sent food trucks. They just finished a big campaign to provide new work boots for production people.
It's really neat to just see how people are so inspired, just the way they dress, the way they talk, the way they think. And not only that is our employees take this home to their families and their families are benefiting.
A lot of these guys are getting like the Hard Knocks MBA, quick, fast. I mean, education that you'd pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for and years of experience.
They're getting better compensation. They have better materials. They have better equipment.
It's just part of being with this team. And at Groundworks, it's unmatched.
I would never have scripted where this company is today 5 years ago. Would never. So is this a $2 billion business in 5 years? It's certainly possible, but I know this. It's not about you. It's not about the founder. It's not about the entrepreneur. It's not about the CEO. What it's about are the people that make up the collective team. And I am convinced the toughness, the makeup of this team, the struggles we've all gone through together have forged this mighty tribe into something that, frankly, no one in home services, and certainly no one in foundation services, could ever stop.
Awesome, Matt.
That's okay?
Yeah. We're just about done here. A couple more questions, but before we get to those, do you mind watching this quick video for us? Review this one for
me. Hey, Groundworks.
Hey, Groundworks.
Hi, I'm Zach.
Hey, this is Brian Lauder Martinez.
Groundworks, my name is Brian.
So I want to make a video to show my appreciation of this company for what Groundworks means to me.
So Groundworks has changed my life in a lot of ways. It took a guy, an installer who's never seen underneath a house, to a production supervisor at a completely other branch. I'm about to have my first child and I'm going into this situation knowing that I'm able to give it a life that I didn't have.
I was able to pay off medical bills. I was able to pay off loans.
3 years ago, I was miserable at my former job and I could barely even pay rent in the house that I now own.
This is it for me. This is my long term. This is my career.
Groundworks has changed my life by making me love my job, making me want to come to work.
It's allowing me to provide for my family and my daughter on a consistent basis. I'll be a homeowner this month, so it's allowed me to buy a house.
In addition to all the financial and professional opportunity, I get a chance to be with my kids in
in a role where I can see them nightly and impact their lives in a personal way, which is something I couldn't do in my previous jobs.
I've been able to catch up on bills, pay off credit cards, even my car.
I've been able to buy a house, pay cash for a new vehicle for my wife and children that they're in. From the bottom of my heart, on behalf of my family and I, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Groundworks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I truly thank you, Groundworks, for this opportunity.
Time to go?
Yeah. One last question. What that video mean to you?
That we're doing something right, we're building something special, and we're doing it in a way that that helps. And at Groundworks, and that's the dream, and I started with to leave a meaningful company that rewards them for their hard work, that allows them to buy homes and prepare for their kids for college and better their lives, and that it's all been worth it.
Thank you.